Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiang. First leader of the Soviet Union, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin famously said, quote, "The capitalists will sell us the rope with which we will hang them," unquote. It was a colorful metaphor for what communists called internal contradictions of capitalism. Soviet communists held this belief that the West's imminent collapse was inevitable. They held this belief right up to the moment in 1989, when Soviet's own system proved more self-annihilating than anything capitalism could muster. But the old phrase has taken on a new and more plausible form today. It was on display on March 18th in the first encounter between President Biden's foreign policy team and the Chinese Communist Party. It was evident from the moment the two sides sat down that an emboldened Chinese leadership understands that they hold the greatest ideological weapon in its existential struggle with America. This weapon is the elite opinion in the US, the opinion that is characterized with a gleeful enthusiasm for self-destruction. When Yang Jiechi, the Communist Party's foreign affairs chief, lectured Secretary of State Anthony Blinken about America's human rights record, its treatment of minorities, and its system's innate inequality, everything he said could have been lifted straight from the pages of the Democratic Party's presidential election platform, culled from newspaper stories, or jotted down in a student's notes from lectures delivered daily at America's top universities. In fact, it probably was. In response, a visibly discomfited Mr. Blinken mumbled something barely coherent that at least America deals with its problems in the open. He then complained that his opponent had gone over his allotted time. The larger truth is that the people who control America's leading cultural institutions and now its government have been eagerly manufacturing ideological rope for the Chinese Communist hangman, and they've stepped up production over the past year. The intellectual movement to which they subscribe has been the force behind the planned destruction. The destruction of the principal pillars of America's authority in the world. The idea that the greatest nation on the planet was founded on universal ideals of human freedom and dignity. Instead, it insists, like those Chinese communists, that all along this claim to a unique status in the world has been a fraud, mere sloganeering behind which America has been and it remains a force for repression and exploitation. How can a nation prevail in a global ideological struggle when its leaders believe its values are intrinsically evil? Mr. Yang and his colleagues must have had a good laugh on their way back to Beijing. Indeed, they are probably chuckling at much of what they see in the values and the principles to which America's new leadership demands. This isn't about maternity flight suits for fighter pilots or updated requirements for army hairstyles Mr. Biden proudly hailed in early March. It's about the elevation of victimhood as the prime signifier of honor in modern America. It's about the claim to being the victim of some oppressor, often a spurious claim, is the quickest route to advancement. It's about the destruction of the idea of academic excellence that now seems to have much of the educational establishment in its grip. Democrats in control of major cities across the country are busy eliminating the opportunities for some of the most disadvantaged children that come from admission to selective schools on the basis of talent. We are told this is discriminatory. Leveling down is the result. It's about the insistence on the qualities that divide rather than unite Americans. It's about the race, sexual orientation, and the multifarious gender as the principal characteristics of identity. The Marxist theories of structural oppression had been discredited by the experience of former and current communist countries in the last century. And yet, they are now rampant in the most influential strata of American society in this century. Lenin may get the last laugh. The Chinese communists have proved much more adept than their Russian predecessors at adapting the precepts of Marxism to economic reality. As Lenin predicted, they've had plenty of help from American capitalists in the process. But American cultural elites have also been busy exporting the hangman's rope across the Pacific. At least, the capitalists have been selling it to them. Much of modern American cultural elites seem intent on giving them away for free. Here are some examples as to how American capitalists are selling the Chinese communists a rope they are using to destroy what's left of America's free capitalist society. Revelations that Hunter Biden and his family were receiving $10 million per year to arrange introductions of powerful Chinese government-controlled companies to the Obama administration. China's spy named Christine Fang gained considerable sway with California Congressman Eric Swalwell, who sits on the House Intel Committee, by raising money for his re-election and putting at least one Chinese intern into the congressman's office. Senator Dianne Feinstein reportedly had a Chinese mole working in her office for more than 20 years until recent disclosure led to his dismissal. NBA as a whole and America's largest IT companies have sold out the people of Hong Kong in exchange for ongoing profitable business relationships with the Chinese communists, who are imprisoning millions of Muslims. Numerous cases of illegal campaign contributions to the Clintons from the Chinese in the late 1990s, as reported by the Washington Post. To be sure, there were serious concerns among some lawmakers during the Clinton years that important technology with military implications was being sold to Chinese. These are just a few examples, but it's no longer just a few elites, it is almost the cultural elite as a whole. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.